to the third edition of TSR NFL Sunday Rundown. I, of course, am your host, Donovan Sharpe. We are brought to you by Gorilla Mind Rush, the #1 supplement for energy, focus, and concentration on the market. If you are looking to be as productive as myself, Xanatos Clutch, or give me 1 second, or Miami J, aka 305 Writer, go to donovansharpe.com/Gorilla Mind Rush. Again, that is donovansharpe.com/Gorilla Mind Rush. All right, let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to be talking about several different topics here today. This is going to be a great show. Hopefully MLD and Crypto Charlie are able to make it in. We'll just wait on them and see what happens here. But we're going to start off with what most people were talking about this last week, and that is the suspension of one Vontaze Burfict. Now, Vontaze Burfict was suspended for the rest of the season for his hit on, I think his name was Jack Doyle. I think he was a tight end for the Indianapolis Colts. And Vontaze Burfict is absolutely a repeat offender. Most people who don't really watch the NFL or watch sports, whatever the case may be, they're even sort of fair weather football fans. They know Vontaze Burfict may or may not be a quote unquote dirty player. But I think the player they hit that more or less put Vontaze Burfict on the map was his hit on Antonio Brown in the 2015 playoff game against the Bengals. Antonio Brown went over the middle. Burfict absolutely hit his head. Brown was out with a concussion. Pac-Man Jones said that he didn't believe that AB was concussed. He says if AB doesn't play, he's going to do the apology and all the rest of that. So now Vontaze Burfict, who ironically was the voice of reason when Antonio Brown almost got into a fight with Mike Mayock, that was sort of an anomaly situation. But whatever the case may be, Vontaze Burfict has now been suspended for the rest of the year, and a lot of people think that the suspension is too harsh, namely Derek Carr and the Raiders. Of course, you would expect that. John Gruden didn't like it. So I guess the question that I want to ask you guys here, and I'll start with Clutch here, was Vontaze Burfict's suspension too harsh? And if anybody has any questions, comments, whatever the case may be, give me a call, 914-205-5356 to weigh in on any of the topics. Clutch, was Vontaze Burfict's suspension too harsh? Was it not harsh enough? What would you have done if you were Roger Goodell?
So for Vontaze Burfict to be suspended for a year, I'm not surprised at it. And to be honest, I can't feel too much sympathy for the guy. This is the reputation that he placed on himself. I mean, he is known as one of the dirtiest players in the league. Granted, yeah, you can pull up some individuals who might be as dirty as him and haven't gotten the harsh sentences that he has, or has gotten the spotlight as he has. But Vontaze placed this on himself, mainly for a couple of reasons. One, if you're going to target people, don't target wide receivers who pull in ratings and pull in asses and seats. Right. The reason why he got the spotlight, especially when he hit Antonio Brown, because it's Antonio Brown. He's one of the best wide receivers of this time. So obviously he's going to bring in the ratings. He's going to put asses in seats, whether it's at Heinz Field or away. So if you're going to go after someone, first of all, make sure it's some third string. Who gives a fuck? Second, I mean, come on. You pride yourself on stuff like this. And look at the places where he has gone to. I mean, right now, the Raiders, right?
Yeah.
Along with the last team. Was it the Bengals, right?
Yep.
Those teams, if you are on those two teams for your career consistently, minus a few individuals, that should show you the kind of person or player that you are. Because those two teams have this nature or this habit of bringing in people who have troubled past. And Vontaze Burfict fits the description. So, for the rest of the year, I may not have done it for the rest of the year only because he does. He is a draw on the way. But I don't blame Goodell for this decision either. I probably would have done like half a year. But that's just me.
Okay. All right. So half the year. Miami J, what are your thoughts on Vontaze Burfict? Vontaze Burfict plays in the AFC, where, of course, the Miami Dolphins are.
A little laggy.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think it was too harsh. I would have done maybe 4 weeks and a fine, but I mean, Zaratos is absolutely right. He brought it on himself. So when you are one of the dirtiest players in the NFL, you're going to have a target on you every time, and they were waiting for him to do something like this. But yeah, I do think a year is way too long. I mean, there's nothing really else to say. It is way too long.
No, I would agree. I think if I were Roger Goodell, I probably would have given him 6 games. Okay. I would have given him 6 games. The NFLPA would probably have appealed it and get it down to 4. However, I'm not going to say that the suspension was definitely too harsh, but not by it. It doesn't surprise me, and I'm not outraged by it. And the reason for this is because Vontaze Burfict is a multiple-time offender. I don't know if anybody knows or understands how the legal system works, but a lot of people try to point to there are a lot of injustices in the legal system. A lot of them are along racial lines. We get that. But I brought that up to say this, is if you have 2 people who commit exactly the same crime in exactly the same circumstances, and one person gets more time than the other, a lot of times the reason for that, pardon me, the reason for that is because the second offender is a multiple time offender. Okay, the more criminal convictions you have, the harsher the penalties are. The reason why the penalties are harsher for repeat offenders and multiple time offenders is to discourage them, to dissuade them from reoffending. This is the message that the NFL is trying to send to Vontaze Burfict. He's been suspended. He's been suspended or fined 13 different times for illegal hits, helmet to helmet, et cetera, et cetera. To be honest with you guys, and I'd like to get your take on this, I don't think the NFL really gives a damn about Vontaze Burfict being a dirty player. What I think they're trying to do is they're trying to avoid future lawsuits. Vontaze Burfict was a dirty player. Like any player who was ever hit illegally by Vontaze Burfict, if at 64 years old they get dementia or CTE, they could potentially sue the NFL because the NFL didn't punish Vontaze Burfict enough for their liking, so he continued to go out there and hurt other people. Do you think that the Vontaze Burfict situation with regards to the suspension, do you think the NFL gave him such a harsh penalty because they actually thought it was wrong, or because they're trying to cover their asses in the future, or maybe it was a combination of both? Clutch, what do you got on that?
It's a combination of both, but in this legal focus NFL, it's mostly because to avoid the lawsuits. I mean, NFL players, as you stated, they have came out the woodwork in order to sue the NFL. I mean, so much so that the mainstream media, the leftist media, has used the NFL, among other things, misogyny, all that other happy horse shit. They used this case, or they're using concussions as a way to argue against little boys playing in the NFL. Henceforth, going after the Pee Wee leagues, the Pop Warner leagues, etc. And obviously, anything that the feminists and the far leftists can use in order to attack one of the havens of masculinity, they will use. And the CTA issue, the concussions and the lawsuits, the litigious ways of the NFL, this is all to cover their asses for any sort of future injuries that will occur to retiring and former NFL players.
I could not agree with you more before. And I think Miami J is trying to get a signal straight. I could not agree more. And I didn't really think of this element until you just said it. The feminist mainstream media is using the NFL to strip masculinity. Clutch, you said it exactly right. The NFL is one of the last bastions of true masculinity, where masculinity is actually rewarded on the field. And the feminist media, the social justice warrior inspired media, because the NFL is the biggest brand in America, they're using that as an in to strip away the masculinity. So Miami J is back here with us. Miami J, what are your thoughts on the motivations for the NFL giving Vontaze Burfict such a harsh suspension? Is it because they want to, are they trying to send a message to Perfect, hey, don't do this again? Or do they not give a shit about what he did, but they're just trying to keep themselves, I guess, safe from future lawsuits and things of that nature? What are your thoughts on that?
No, like Xanato said, it's a little of both. I think the bigger problem the NFL has, and we talked about this when we did one of the shows last year with about Zeke Elliott, and I think the NFL's bigger problem, and where they will face some lawsuits, is how arbitrary their suspension guidelines are.
Right.
For the, like you were saying, the exact same hit, another player is not going to get the same suspension. Why not? I mean, the NFL needs to set a standard and stick to it. When it comes to these suspensions, you know, Zeke Elliott gets a year. This guy gets, Shady McCoy gets nothing. This guy, whatever. You know, because it seems to be that because of who you are and because of what team you play for, that's going to dictate what suspension or what fine you get. It can't be that way. It needs to be consistent.
Yeah,
you know, yeah, it needs to be congruent.
No, I totally listen. I go ahead.
No, and I'm saying with the CBA coming up, I hope the NFLPA pushes for that.
Yeah, the NFLPA really do need to push for consistency as far as discipline is concerned. Vontaze Burfict, again, he's a dirty player. There is no question about it. I think this is really a matter of impulse control. I think a suspension was definitely warranted, but suspending him for the entire year, that's garbage. I would have suspended him personally for 6 games and left it at that, maybe get it down to 4, but you know, taking a man's paycheck for the entire year, I don't agree with. Let's switch lanes here and talk a little bit about the Browns and the Ravens last week. The Cleveland Browns went out and absolutely shocked everybody. They went into Baltimore.
Where's MLD today?
I don't know. I don't know where he's at. I hope he comes in because I'm going to play the clip. Of him making these ridiculous picks, but they went into Baltimore and absolutely dump trucked the Ravens. The score was 40-25. The score was not as close, or the game was not as close as the score would indicate. Rex Ryan talked a bunch of shit about Baker Mayfield, told him that he was, said Baker Mayfield was overrated, that he needs to get his act together. Of course, Baker Mayfield clapped back in the media. Then he goes into Baltimore. He goes 20 of 30, 342 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But the key was Nick Chubb. 20 carries, 165 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's 8.2 yards a carry. Jarvis Landry, 8 receptions, 167 yards. OBJ, 2 catches, 20 yards. So here's the question, guys, because this seems to have turned on its head very, very quickly. We were all singing the praises of the Baltimore Ravens, and rightfully so. But after the Browns went in there and just absolutely embarrassed the Ravens, are the Cleveland Browns now the best team in the AFC North? Clutch, what do you think?
I said at the beginning of this season that the Cleveland Browns, at worst, will make the playoffs, and at best will win the AFC North.
Wow, there you go.
I'm sticking by that prediction. Look, yes, it took them some time in order to get their act together. That's how all teams are.
Right.
And especially with the Browns, I wasn't expecting them to pull something like this early in the season. I had Baltimore winning this game and perhaps Cleveland winning at home when they face Baltimore later on. But looking at what they did right now, looking at how the defense finally came together, because the Browns defense was under the radar until yesterday. Last week, and we all know that they have weapons on the offensive side: Jarvis Landry, Chubb, OBJ,
and Kareem Hunt isn't even there yet.
Yeah, you're right. So Baker Mayfield, obviously, he doesn't need to be Brady or Mahomes to make this team great. All he needs to do is basically not screw up. And that's basically what he did. Yeah, he had, one interception, but
one pick, 20 of 30. What's that? 66% completion percentage. 342 yards is pretty damn good against, a stout Ravens defense.
Exactly. And if you call that game management, then yeah, for all Browns fans, I'd be content.
Good stuff. Miami J, are the Cleveland Browns the best team in the AFC North?
All right, let me put it this way. First off, as far as singing the Baltimore Ravens praises, speak for yourselves, because I haven't sang their Miami. I haven't really. Second,
Right.
I think the only
Okay.
thing that's good, the only team that's going to beat the Cleveland Browns. This is the most talented team in the NFL, and they will win this division. And the only thing that's going to hold them back is Freddie Kitchens.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. I'm on board with the both of you guys. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely the best team in the AFC North. Lamar Jackson's good. He's having a good year, but just like Miami J said, the teams that they beat, and this is kind of like the Dak Prescott arc, which we will absolutely discuss here very shortly. But the Baltimore Ravens didn't play anybody. They scored. They hung 59 on the Miami Dolphins, and everybody wanted to anoint them. Oh, Lamar Jackson's turned the corner. Listen, Lamar Jackson has definitely improved. He's got bigger traps. It looks like he can read defenses a little better now. Okay, that's all well and good. But Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's a better athlete. Lamar Jackson's a better football player, probably. Mayfield is a better quarterback. Mayfield is deadly accurate. He's got more weapons, et cetera, et cetera. The Browns are the best team in the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to be a contender. We'll talk about here. We'll talk about that here in just a second.
And people forget that, you think of Baker Mayfield, OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, these guys, but that defense is chock full of freaking first-round picks.
Yep. They
all
were
over the place.
Listen, this is the thing. This had to happen. The Cleveland Browns have been so bad for so long. Those first-round draft picks are starting to add up. The Eagles actually took advantage of one of those first-round draft picks, traded a couple of picks to Cleveland to move up to number 2 to pick up Carson Wentz. So again, this is why the NFL does what it does with its draft picks. The worst team drafts first, the best teams draft last. And we're sort of seeing a changing of the guard. Now, the exception to the rule appears to be the New England Patriots. They don't like to build. Well, the Patriots don't like to build through the draft. They'll build their defense through the draft. But when it comes to offensive players and skill position players, they like to pick them off the scrap heap and make, they like to make trades with teams like the Cleveland Browns, who are dumb enough to actually give them these picks. You are listening to TSR Sunday NFL Rundown. I'm your host, Donovan Sharpe. Xanathos Clutch and Miami J are both joining me. Guys, if you have any questions or comments, give me a call. Do not hesitate to give me a call, 914-205-5356. I'm putting the number in the chat right now. A big thanks goes out to Dallas Cowboys with the $5 super chat. We have another $5 super chat here from Terrence Forrest Jr. with the $5 super chat. He says, Donovan, always love your sports talk segments, especially when you view it through the red pill point of view. I appreciate the super chat there, Terrence. Okay, let's switch gears here and talk about listen, we thought that the Browns and the Ravens was a surprising game, but an even more surprising game was the Rams and the Buccaneers. This game was an absolute shootout, 55-40. The Buccaneers beat the LA Rams 55-40. Jameis Winston had his best day as a pro. He went 28 of 41. That's 68% completion percentage, 385 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. This is this is what Jameis Winston is capable of. Now, in the past, on these past shows, I think in the first 2 shows, we talked about the fact that Jameis Winston is a bust. But given his performance against that vaunted LA Rams defense, do we still think Jameis Winston is a bust, or is the jury still out on him? Clutch.
Honestly, this is more of an indictment towards the Rams defense than anything else.
Okay.
I mean, looking at what the Rams have done, let's look at the scores right quick, because last week, what was it? Who did they face? I mean,
it was I think it was the Giants. They lost to the Giants and they lost that game because the Buccaneers kicker, whoever he is, missed a last-second field goal. So they could have won against the Giants, who of course had Daniel Jones, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah,
because at this point, I am worried about how their defense can hold up. I mean, it's sort of the opposite problem with, like, say, Chicago, where the defense is going to show up.
Yeah, okay. No worries there with the defense.
Yeah, exactly. But with the Rams, LA Rams, the offense is doing fine. I mean, everyone was talking about, will Jared Goff screw up? Will he be a bust? Wow. But seems like he's doing all right. Seems like he's using the weapons. Todd Gurley, he's a bit questionable, but he's still doing his thing. But it's the defense. And it's surprising because you had all these weapons show up with the Rams. I mean, you would think that all these individuals, I mean, what do they got? Like Clay Matthews, they have
dude, Aaron Donald
still there,
Marcus Peters. Oh yeah, they're loaded on defense.
Exactly. My thing is that with all these top stars, I'm surprised that they haven't cohesed to the point in which they could be a well-oiled machine on that front. So I'm looking at the Rams defense more than Jameis Winston. I still think Jameis Winston is still a bust, honestly.
Okay.
I would say, I'll stick to that. He just needs to face against a solid defense. And let me look at the schedule for the Bucs. Hate to do this on the fly, but
that's cool. While you're looking for that, Miami J, is Jameis still a bust?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you think Jameis Winston?
Look, everybody's going to have a good day, especially you play the Rams. That's the game you psych yourself up for. That's a game you gear up for. And every once in a while, you can catch them on a bad day. But I agree with Xanatos that it's more of an indictment on the Rams defense than it is on a coronation of Jameis Winston or whatever. Jameis Winston's still a bust. The Buccaneers aren't going anywhere. And, he'll end up as a backup next year somewhere.
Wow. Okay, Clutch. What do you have on the Buccaneers schedule coming up?
Okay, so since we're going to focus on Jameis Winston, I mean, let me see what we got here. Okay, today they're facing off against the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
We've seen what the Saints defense can do. Nobody's talking about the Saints defense.
No, they're not.
Exactly. Also, Tennessee Titans taking all their defense.
Defense. Yep. As a matter of fact, the Tennessee Titans defense held the Cleveland Browns in check. You remember the Browns got blown out by the Titans. I think that was week 1. So yeah, the Titans defense is absolutely legit. So listen, I think I agree with the both of you. I think Jameis Winston is absolutely still a bust. And I think the only reason why we're calling him a bust is because he was the number 1 overall pick. If he was a second or a third rounder, we wouldn't call him a bust. We'd be like, okay, listen, man, the Buccaneers got him on a discount. But he was he's sort of Cam Newton 2.0 in terms of his career arc. Won the Heisman Trophy, won the national championship, was the number 1 overall pick, went to a bad team. I've seen enough from Jameis Winston. This is year 5. If you haven't figured it out by now, then you probably never will. Marcus Mariota. Go ahead, Mike.
The Buccaneers brought it on themselves by drafting a Florida State quarterback. That's their own fault.
Well, Florida State quarterbacks are almost a lot like USC quarterbacks. USC quarterbacks don't. I think the only successful USC quarterback was Carson Palmer. But USC, dude, Matt Barkley, Matt Leinart, and what was it, Mark
Sanchez.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez. The reason why USC quarterbacks struggle when they get to the pros is because they're always playing in 75-degree weather, and it seems like they're always playing at home in the Coliseum. So the weather is always great. They're always at home. You've got five-star linemen that you are playing behind, and you've got all-American receivers. I mean, of course you're going to be good. Then all of a sudden, when you get to the NFL, everybody's fast. And oh, by the way, it starts to get cold in November, right? So the ball that you throw that can cut through the wind in that balmy, Southern California weather and wind, that's not going to happen in New York. That ain't going to happen in Baltimore. That's not going to happen up in Chicago in December or January. So I think that's probably one of the main reasons why USC quarterbacks tend to struggle. Got a comment here for Ain't No Half Step, and he said Bucs tight ends and receiver targets are awesome no matter who the Bucs quarterback is. Yeah, Mike Evans is one of the best receivers in the league, along with O.J. Howard, the tight end. So I certainly concur with Ain't No Half Stepping.
Now, what about Chris Godwin? That kid is coming on like a freaking hurricane,
and nobody saw him coming, man.
And I drafted him in both leagues.
Oh, okay. So there's a fantasy tip there for you guys.
Yeah, if you want to talk trade, let me know.
We'll see what happens after today. I'm 3-1, so I think we're doing all right. I'm actually playing against you today at Miami J.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. Yes. I lost. Okay. That was my only loss of the season. All right, so let's stay in the same lane here. Let's talk about the LA Rams. So the LA Rams gave up 55 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Jared Goff had a relatively decent game. Okay, he threw for a career high 517 yards, was 45 of 68, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. To me, that is a red flag. When you ask your quarterback to throw the football 68 times, that tells me that you have no running game. That's what that tells me. Todd Gurley ain't the same guy, guys. He is not the same. They have lost. So this past week, they lost 2 games, I think, in 5 days. They lost to the Buccaneers on Sunday. Then they turned around and lost to the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday. So the Rams went from going 3-0 to 3-2 in a matter of a week. So now the question becomes, and I'm going to start with Miami J here. This is a 2-part question. Was Jared Goff worth the money? Is he worth the money? 4 years, $134 million, $110 million guaranteed. That's the first question. Is Goff worth the money? The second question is, are the Rams in trouble?
Well, Jared Goff is not worth the money. Jared Goff he's a good system quarterback for the system they're running, but he's not this $40 million quarterback who's going to make everybody around him better, who's going to take charge and lead his team to the promised land. That's not Jared Goff. The Rams offense is so good because of Sean McVay, not because of Jared Goff. And having said that, because of Sean McVay, I wouldn't say the Rams are in trouble, except to say that I think they're going to be in the wild card hunt because the Seattle Seahawks are just running roughshod over everybody.
Right.
I think the Rams' bigger problem is the Seahawks are going to win that division, not them.
Ooh, okay. Of course, the 49ers.
At least that's how it looks right now.
No.
And the Niners are coming on strong too.
Yes, they are. Yes, they absolutely are. Clutch. What are your thoughts? Are the Rams in trouble, or do they not have anything to worry about? Because, again, the Rams are talented. They've got talent on both sides of the football. Arthritic knee or not, Todd Gurley is still he's still a decent running back. He can give you 10 good hard carries a game. You've got Robert Woods. You've got Cooper Kupp. You've got Brandon Cooks. Of course, Jared Goff pulling the trigger. So is Jared Goff overrated? Is he worth the money? And do you think the Rams are in trouble?
Jared Goff's a damn good quarterback, but as he said, he's not worth that much money. At least not at this point in his career. This is only his third year in the league, I don't think.
This is 4th year because this is Wentz's 4th year, so this is right.
Exactly. And to be honest, yeah, I would put him in the same category as say Wentz or Prescott. But as I stated previously, for Prescott to give him like 30-something million per year, I would say it would be the same amount averaging for Goff as well. I mean, he allowed his team to go to the Super Bowl last year. I get it. Granted, a lot of that was due to Gurley and the defense, right. But he did just enough in order to lead them to the dance. So he is worth something, at least that much. If you put him in the right system. However, in this case, I think they're in trouble. Mainly because, one, I'm looking at their schedule. I mean, they got the Niners twice. They got the Seahawks again. They got Chicago and their defense. They got, Dallas down the line, which they're going to step it up since they'll be in the wild card hunt. You got Chicago, Atlanta. So, granted, Atlanta's on big shaky ground, but, I mean, anything can happen with that. So, I would be worried if I was a Rams fan for a postseason hope. Now, will they do have some good games? Will they have some definitive games? Obviously, yeah. And we're all going to say, the Rams defense is back. But the thing I'm missing here, the thing the Rams are missing here is basically consistency. Yeah, they won some games. Let me see. Yeah, New Orleans, they made a definitive statement, 27-9, week 2. Yeah. 20-13, week 3 against the Browns. But then again, we discussed that earlier when the Browns were still trying to find their mojo. But ever since then, gave up 40 points against the Buccaneers, gave up 29 points against the Seahawks. Yeah, it was at home. I get it for the Seahawks, but still, they're inconsistent. That's my main concern when it comes to the Rams. And it's, as I said, it's mostly the defense that's inconsistent. Jared Goff's doing his job. The offense are doing their job, but it's the defense that's going to either push them in the playoffs or have them sitting home.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think that no, Jared Goff is not worth the money. We listen, and we were all ready to give up on Jared Goff when he was drafted by the then St. Louis Rams, who were head coached by Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher is not a very good offensive coach. He's a very good defensive coach, but he's not a very good offensive coach. Think Mark Sanchez, Rex Ryan. Mark Sanchez was pretty good at USC, but given the fact that, number one, he played for USC, number two, he's drafted to a cold weather city by a defensive coach. This is why Mark Sanchez never really panned out. Jared Goff was headed in that same direction. In comes Sean McVay. They go to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff played halfway decent in the Super Bowl, but he's not the kind of quarterback that you can have put on your back. Now, that being said, he threw the ball 68 times, but he threw 3 interceptions. 517 yards is great. 2 touchdowns is great. 3 interceptions is not so great. You can't. I think that there are probably a handful of quarterbacks. I can only think of 3 quarterbacks you can ask to throw it 70 times and actually come out the other side with a possible win. That's Brady, Breeze, and Rodgers. And if you guys remember, I don't know if anybody knows this, but the second half of Super Bowl 49, when the Patriots were playing the Seahawks, Tom Brady threw the Patriots, I think, didn't run the ball one time in the second half against the Seattle Seahawks. Every single play, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but every single play that Bill Belichick called for Tom Brady was a pass play in the second half of Super Bowl 49. That's who you can do it with. You can't ask Jared Goff to throw the ball 68 times. If you do, he's going to throw 3 picks. You can do that with Rodgers. You can do that with Breeze. You can do that with Brady. You cannot do it with a guy like Jared Goff. So if you're going to pay,
maybe able to do it with Mahomes.
Yeah,
that I agree with. And Patrick Mahomes, by the way, he's going to be your first $200 million quarterback. I don't think that's any secret. I'm not making any sort of bold prediction there. Patrick Mahomes is probably going to make upwards of $40 million a season over a 5-year period. It's going to be, and I think the Mahomes deal is probably going to be 4 years, $200 million. Probably 5 years, $200 million. They'll probably give him 150 to 160 guaranteed. He is absolutely going to break the bank. Are the Rams in trouble? They're absolutely in trouble. And it's not because they're a bad football team. They're actually a pretty decent football team, but the Seahawks are better. And I think that they're going to win the NFC West, number one. Number two, the 49ers are much improved. I think the 49ers will probably win 10 games. They might sneak in as a wild card. Arizona is down and out right now, but I think in a couple of years they're going to be really good with Clint Kingsbury and Kyler Murray. But the LA Rams are 100% absolutely in trouble, and it's because of 2 reasons. It's number one, it's because of that defense. Number 2, it's because of Todd Gurley. The LA Rams need to go out and get another running back if they want any chance of continuing to be relevant in the NFC West. Closing thoughts on the LA Rams, either guy.
We're good.
Yeah, the reason they were so great when Sean McVay first came on the scene was because they had Todd Gurley.
Yes,
and Todd Gurley that's the year that Todd Gurley set that standard, and it hasn't happened again, and I don't think it will. Honestly, Todd Gurley, like you said, he's not the same guy.
So Jared Goff is much better when Todd Gurley is better, which leads me to quote unquote America's game of the week and Dak Prescott. So, pardon me. So let me run some numbers here for you guys. So week 1, Dak Prescott, 25 of 32, 405 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Week 2 against the Redskins, 26 of 30, 269 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Week 3 against the Miami Dolphins, 19 of 32, 246, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then, of course, against the New Orleans Saints, 22 of 33, 223 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. His numbers are almost on a curve. Dak Prescott has regressed every game, okay? And I don't want to say regress, but his numbers keep getting worse. So from week 1 to week 4, in terms of yards, 405, 269, 246, 223, okay? His touchdowns are literally 4, 3, 2, 0. The better competition that he plays, the worse that he does. But I'm not just saying that. I'm not just saying that because I'm an Eagles fan. I say this because it's true. Listen, Dak Prescott is probably a $28 to maybe $30 million a year quarterback. That's all there is to it. But I will, and here's the thing. Yours truly, I'm going to take this off the screen here. I actually talked about this briefly last week, as I cue this bad boy up, I want you guys to take a watch and listen to what I said about Dak Prescott last week. Here we go. Kirk Cousins deal. They need to give him 3 years, $100 million, fully guaranteed. And what the hell? What am I lagging now? Are you serious? Oh boy. All right. Well, this is embarrassing. Let me pause it. Let him prove it that way. I'm telling you right now, Dak Prescott's having a good year, but if the Cowboys pay this guy $40 million a year, it's over. It's over. I don't know why he keeps doing this. Dude, Dak Prescott is good. He ain't that goddamn good. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like he is. Okay, so that's what I said. I don't know why he keeps doing that. I've never had that really happen to me before. Let me bring up another article that talks about Dak Prescott's limitations, and I know it's hard to see. I'm gonna try to blow this up, and I'm gonna read this to you guys. I don't want to get you guys' take on this. Okay. And again, this isn't any slight on Dak Prescott. This doesn't mean I think Dak is a bad guy. I just think that Dak Prescott has beat up on a lot of extremely inferior competition and inferior football teams, and we want to pay Dak Prescott for having beat up on bad teams. And this was an article written on it's on USA Today. It was written by, let me look and see here. I know I should have this all queued up and ready to go. Morris play calling. C. Joseph Wright. Okay. And I want to point out some numbers again. And just like I said, every week Dak Prescott has gotten progressively worse in terms of yards. Week 1, 405. Week 2, 269. Week 3, 246. Week 4, 223. In touchdowns, week 1, 4 touchdowns. Week 2, 3 touchdowns. Week 3, 2 touchdowns. Last week, no touchdowns. So here's the raw data. The first thing that jumps out, C. Joseph Wright says this week, is that the Cowboys ran only 57 offensive plays. Compare that to the first 3 weeks: 66 against New York, 68 versus the Redskins, and 71 against Miami. The low number of offensive snaps may not be surprising if you remember the Saints' offense had the ball for 36 minutes and 6 seconds. Dallas quarterback Dak Prescott took 18 snaps from under center and 39 in the shotgun. Prescott has been in the shotgun on more snaps than under center in every game so far this season, but there has been much more balance in previous games: 32-34 against the Giants, 32-36 against Washington, and 32-39 versus the Dolphins. The real issue, C. Joseph Wright says, with how formations are utilized is not so much whether they are in the shotgun more than under center or vice versa, but whether it becomes obvious that the offense is going to run from under center and pass from the shotgun. Former offensive coordinator Scott Linehan was justly criticized for being too predictable. He almost always called passing plays from the shotgun and called mostly running plays when the quarterback was under center. This obviously makes the Cowboys very predictable, which is why Kellen Moore was hired. So this guy says he's been tracking the basic stats in these articles since Prescott was a rookie. Full disclosure, he says, I do not have my notes from the last 8 games of the 2018 season. That being said, listen to this. I do have complete stats for 44 of Prescott's 52 regular season games, and nothing about the final 8 games of 2018 suggests that there was any major deviation from the trends identified. Moreover, the data from this season corroborates the observations noted in the other 40 games. The most glaring trend detected is that Prescott is rarely asked to drop back and pass after taking the snap under center. In 44 games, he has never dropped back and passed after taking a snap from under center more than 3 or 4 times in a game. When he was a rookie, it was sometimes never and often only once a game. Moreover, many of the infrequent pass attempts from under center are not traditional 5-step drops. They are often quick screens to the wide receiver or something similar, which requires the quarterback to just get his feet planted and fire the ball. After 3 years as an NFL quarterback, Dak Prescott still doesn't routinely drop back into the pocket and throw the ball. He did it just twice against the Saints, twice versus Miami, twice in Washington, and 3 times in the season opener. To put it another way, Prescott has 127 passing attempts through 4 games this season, but only 9 have come after he dropped back from under center. That means that 118 of his attempts have come off of play action or from the shotgun. This is why we all say that this is Zeke's team. Dak Prescott is a grown-up. We know that he's mature. He's an NFL quarterback. We all know this. And he has definitely improved. But Dak Prescott is not worth $40 million a season. He ain't worth that much. The reason Dak Prescott is successful is because of the offensive line and Zeke Elliott. So now the question becomes, let's go back to my original question. In terms of his performance this past Sunday, was Dak Prescott exposed on Sunday against the New Orleans Saints, and what do the Cowboys do from here? Clutch, what do you got?
Absolutely, honestly, I have to say so, because one, New Orleans defense, as I said, which is underrated, basically shut down Zeke to his worst running average this season so far. Now, I have some stats for you when it comes to the running game specifically. You gave the analysis on Dak Prescott, but for Ezekiel Elliott, which is basically the run offense, which I'm actually a bit concerned about, because, I mean, the number 2 guy, was it Pollard? He's like way down on the list. He's basically a non-factor. Zeke, let me see. Go back to week 1, and he had an average of 4.1 yards per carry. Okay, week 2, 4.8. Week 3, 6.6. The Dolphins. And week 4, 1.9. Yeah, he got a touchdown in, but he was only, 18 carries, 35 yards in the touchdown. When you shut down Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott has to carry the offense on his shoulder. And we saw what happened when that was done. I mean, he was exposed. I mean, not to say that he, like Jameis Winston, he's a bust. Absolutely not. But Zeke and Prescott work in conjunction with each other. You need one in order to make the other look good. I think it's more or less you need Zeke to make Prescott look good, more or less versus the opposite. Because, I mean, yeah, have we seen really a game without Prescott where Zeke was just running the offense? Has that ever happened?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we may see what Zeke's worth if, God forbid, Prescott gets injured for a game or two. But yeah, once you shut down the offense, once you shut down Zeke, then you have to look at Prescott, or the team has to rely on Prescott. And yeah, he can, yeah, we saw what happened last week.
Miami J, what you got?
Well, you said it perfectly. Dak Prescott is a product of Zeke Elliott and that offensive line. You saw what happened against New Orleans when that offensive line did not have a good game.
That's right.
Look, Dak Prescott, he was what, a 4th round pick?
4th rounder.
4th rounder. So I'm not ready to call him a bust because he was a 4th round pick. But I think if you put Dak Prescott in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Miami Dolphins, he's no better than Case Keenum.
Wow. See, this is the thing, man. And this is the weird thing. Dak Prescott is he's a good quarterback. I'm not gonna call him chop liver because he's a quarterback. He is.
So Case Keenum, he proved that he could be a good quarterback when he played for the Vikings, but it's very easy to become a good quarterback when you have the best offensive line in football and one of the better running backs.
Listen, there was actually a comment in the chat from D. Weiss. He says Roethlisberger had AB and Le'Veon Bell. No quarterback can do it by himself. Absolutely. There's no question about that. But we're talking about paying this guy $40 million a season. We're talking about, well, Carson Wentz's his contract is the floor. Nah, bruh. Not if you can't do it by yourself. And I said this last week. If I'm going to pay you $40 million a season to be the quarterback, then you shouldn't need Amari Cooper and Zeke Elliott, right? Like this is just how it is. He's got Zeke, he has Amari. You need those players. But if I'm paying you $40 million a season, you shouldn't need those guys to be successful. If you need those guys to be successful, that doesn't mean you're a bad quarterback. But I'm not paying you $40 million a season. Not going to happen.
And I think that's a problem with. I think that's a big problem with teams paying these quarterbacks such big contracts for such a long term, because most of these quarterbacks, maybe with the exception of Rodgers, Breeze, Brady, and maybe Mahomes, we don't really know about him yet. But these are quarterbacks that are top level. They're going to make everybody around them great. They're worth the money. The other ones, they're all system quarterbacks. They're great. They may be great in that system, in that situation. If you pay them for 7 years, you don't know where the rest of your team is going to be in 7 years. You don't know how good they're going to be.
No, listen, I I totally agree. Listen, Prescott does very well against really bad teams. Against good teams, not so much. So again, listen, if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm paying him, dude, I'm gonna pay him 25 to maybe 30 million a season. He's not a $30 million quarterback. He's not even a $40 million quarterback. Like, and again, he's an excellent quarterback. He has obviously improved himself. He is doing much better this season, but the first real team he ran into gave him problems, right? Like that's just how this goes. I went over the numbers. Every single game, he has played better and better competition. Like stairs, his numbers have gotten progressively worse. 405, 269, 246, 223. Touchdowns, 4.32, 4.320. That's how this goes. Now, I think Prescott is going to win some games. Or I think the Cowboys are going to win some more games because of Prescott. But when it comes down to it, Prescott might not lose you games, but he can't put a team on his back and win one either. That's just how it is.
And alongside that, I mean, I hope he wins some games because looking at the schedule, say from November on, November the 24th, starting from there to almost the last week, those teams, he has a stretch where the teams he's facing have a combined record of 15-6. He's facing against the Patriots on the 24th of November. Then down to Buffalo. I mean, no one's talking about Buffalo's defense.
No, they're not.
And then Chicago, we know what Khalil Mack can do. And then the Rams, who will be fighting their ass off. They'll be focused on.
They're going to be grumpy.
Oh, hey, they're going to be grumpy. Yeah, in that wild card spot. And then the Eagles, they're going to be fighting for either a wild card spot or the NFC East. So, I mean, I hope he does something quick because come November, it's going to be a grind.
I agree.
And like we said last week, that grind for the Dallas Cowboys comes on the easy part of the schedule for the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Cowboys are really going to need to step up.
That's right. The Cowboys are 3-1. The Eagles are 2-2. We get the New York Jets today, right? So we're basically getting a bye week, right? And again, listen.
Mark the time and day that you said that.
Man, listen, this Jets game, this is a trap game for the Eagles. We're going to go over this a little bit later. And we're going to have to make our picks against the spread because the games are going to start here in about a half an hour. But I'm telling you, man, the Eagles, dude, we cannot overlook the Jets because after this game, I think 4 of our next 5 games are on the road. We got to beat the Jets today. We probably will, but these are the kinds of games that where teams kind of stumble. At the end of the day, I think Dak Prescott is an excellent quarterback. I'm really glad his ass got into the film room. He's throwing receivers open. Can he turn himself into a $40 million quarterback? No, I don't think so. He can probably turn himself into a $35 million quarterback. But if he does, he's going to have to do it against teams that are better than the Redskins, the Giants, or the Dolphins.
Think about this. Think about that NFC wildcard race is shaping up. It's going to be a good one.
It is, man.
You're going to have the Rams and Seahawks and the 49ers. You got the Cowboys and the Eagles. Yep. The Falcons are not chopped liver. They're not going to just lie down. That's going to be a damn good wildcard.
Panthers, Saints.
Oh. The Saints, yeah.
And then the Vikings are in it. Obviously the Packers, and you got the Bears. So
yeah, that's going to be a hot playoff race.
It is. It's going to be good. I think. Listen, the NFC East is going to be won by either the Cowboys or the Eagles. Obviously, I'm an Eagles guy. I think the Eagles are probably a better team. And listen, man. Dude, we went into Green Bay and we took it to the Packers. That, to me, was a season-saving, season-defining game. We were down 10-0 early. Carson Wentz took the Eagles down, scored 4 straight touchdowns against the Packers without Deshaun Jackson. So I think the Eagles were in a rough part of their season, at least in the beginning. Shouldn't have lost to the Lions, but it is what it is. That's just
that's the difference. Carson Wentz has the potential to become one of those quarterbacks.
Dak
Prescott can't do that.
Can't do it. Carson Wentz can put a team on his back, and he can win football games. Can Dak Prescott do it? I don't know. Is he capable of it? Probably. He just has.
Neither can Jared Goff, by the way.
No, Jared Goff cannot do it. No. He proved that last week against the Buccaneers. That's just how that goes. We all thought that Jared Goff was the real deal. How can we put this? We all thought that Jared Goff was the real deal after the shootout against the Rams, but he's, again, and every quarterback is a system quarterback to an extent. But guys like Aaron Rodgers, guys like Drew Brees, guys like Brady who can ad lib, who can do things that other quarterbacks can't do when things break down, when receivers don't run their natural routes, et cetera. That's what separates the good quarterbacks from the great ones. I don't think Dak can do it. He might be able to do it, but he needs to show me something.
And and you meant to say the Chiefs, not the Rams. And also, was it Week 16 versus Dallas? That's going to be. I see here it's going to start at 4:25. That's going to be swapped to Sunday night, and I think that's going to determine.
Oh, they flexing it?
I'm predicting they're flexing it. They have it here for 4:25. 4:25 Eastern. But they're going to flex it to Sunday night. You know it. I mean, these two teams are going to be in the thick of things. That's going to determine who wins the NFC East and maybe gets a spot in the wild card. So. Watch out for that game 16, Philly versus Dallas.
You know what? I agree with you. I think they are absolutely going to flex that game. They actually did that back in 06, 07, when it was the Eagles and the Cowboys. Winner wins the division, gets to the playoff, loser goes home. This is when the Cowboys had T.O. You remember that?
Yep.
The Eagles absolutely curb stomped. It was 44-6. T.O. was late for the flight and all this other kind of stuff. So yeah, that would be a very, very interesting scenario there. It's going to be James Martinez giving me shit in the chat, says all this Eagles talk, blah, blah, blah. Hashtag fly Eagles fly. Yeah, listen, the Eagles are playing the Jets. There's no need to talk about them. Unless, of course, we are talking about picking against the spread, which we are going to do right now. So as of last week, here's how the records stand against the spread. Now, we could only pick 2 games against the spread because my dumbass waited to pick the games against the spread until the game started, which is really not that wise. So we could only really pick 2 games. And the only games that we were able to pick against the spread were the Browns-Ravens and the Saints-Cowboys. So as of right now, Miami J is the leader in the clubhouse. Miami J is 2-0. Xanatos Clutch is 1-1. I, of course, am 1-1. Cultivate Crypto Charlie is also 1-1. MLD went 0-for-2. And let me just bring this up here quickly because I want to point out what MLD said about the Cleveland Browns. And listen, bless MLD's heart. He doesn't really get to watch football as much because he lives in Japan. But listen to what he says about the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens.
Dude, the Ravens. Are you kidding me? The Browns are trash. The Browns are fucking trash, and they're going to fall apart as this year moves forward.
Okay, so the Browns are trash. They're going to fall apart as the year moves forward. Of course, he took the Cleveland Browns against the spread, and then of course he took the Baltimore Ravens against the spread, and the Browns did him dirty. So as of right now, Miami J is undefeated, and MLD is all defeated. So let us pick our very first game against the spread. We've got the Baltimore Ravens minus 3.5. They are a 3.5 point favorite in Pittsburgh. Clutch. Are you taking the Ravens and swallowing the points, or are the Steelers going to crash the party?
Oh, man. Sheesh. They got embarrassed, the Ravens, last week against the Browns. And you know that they're fumed up. Harbaugh, he's not going to let this one lie down. As much as I like the Steelers, I went to the University of Pittsburgh the year they won Super Bowl. It was in 2006.
Yeah.
But this is not that team. And even if Roethlisberger was on that team, the locker room just chaos that happened and suit last year between Antonio Brown as well as was it Le'Veon Bell? Mm-hmm. I got the Ravens covering that spread. They're going to win like by 10 points or something. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard-fought game. Ravens and Steelers are always a hard-fought rivalry. It's probably my favorite rivalry in the NFL. And it'll be a rough and tumble defensive game. But I got the Ravens covering the spread. They'll win by 10.
Excellent. Miami J, who you got?
I got the Steelers. I do. This is one of those rivalry games. It's emotional. It's going to be physical, hard fought. When you put young teams in situations like this where they have to go on the road against a rivalry division opponent, they usually tend to fall apart. And I think that's what's going to happen to the Ravens today. I think the Steelers put it together and they come away with the win straight up, not even against the spread.
Listen, I agree with Miami J. I think the Steelers and the Steelers they're going to struggle this season. That's for sure. their 3 best players are gone, but that defense is legit. Now, granted, they beat up on the Bengals this past last Monday night. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, but there is value in playing a cupcake. Playing a cupcake like the Bengals, get your confidence up. The Baltimore Ravens, they're going to be now. The Baltimore Ravens, they're going to come in. They're going to be pissed off. They were just embarrassed on national TV by shit talking Baker Mayfield, so they're going to come out swinging. But I think in the end, I think Mike Tomlin is probably a better coach schematically than John Harbaugh. Not by much, but I think the Ravens are going to win this football game. But I don't think they're going to win by 3.5. I think it's going to be Baltimore 17, Pittsburgh 16. So I'm going to take the. Go ahead.
I think that the Ravens have won a lot of games this year by surprising people with Lamar Jackson and scheming him in different ways. I think the Steelers know them they know them too well for the Baltimore Ravens to be able to pull off something like that. So I think that defense takes a point of pride and stands up today and beats the Ravens.
Okay, very good. I'm taking the Ravens 17-16. I think the Ravens win, but they do not cover the 3.5. Again, this is on the road at Heinz Field. Road games are terribly difficult to win. Let's go to our next game. This one is confusing to me, man. This is crazy. The Vikings are getting 5 points on the road against the New York Giants. The Giants have won 2 straight games with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is lighting the world on fire. Kirk Cousins, I'm a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins right now, but they're still getting 5 points going into New York. I don't understand that line. Clutch, is this a trap game? Who are you taking?
Absolutely. Look, I think the Vikings are smart enough to realize what they're going up against. They have seen the footage throughout the past few weeks. Granted, yes, the Giants, who did they face against before the Redskins?
I think the Cowboys.
Okay, well, and they did decent, actually. But yeah, this, regardless if the Vikings prepare for Daniel Jones, and they don't have enough footage. They don't have enough strategy to see what Daniel Jones can and can't do, what his weaknesses are, what his strengths are, how he operates. So honestly, I have the Giants winning. Honestly, the Vikings, they don't cover the spread. I have the Giants winning outright, or at the very least, I have the Giants losing, but definitely covering that spread. It's going to maybe 20-17 or something like that. Okay.
All right. Very good. Miami J, what are your thoughts?
I really don't understand the line either, but Vegas always seems to know something that we don't. I have the Vikings in this game. I think there was a little locker room mix-up with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen where they feel they're not getting the ball. And, I think squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So I think they're going to feed those two guys, and I think Kirk Cousins has a good game this week.
I got to go with Miami J again. Dude, listen, as good as the Giants are, as good as you're
just trying to piggyback on my record, man.
Listen, it's my job as the host to try to make you think I'm thinking one thing and then switch up. Listen, man, the Giants are good with Daniel Jones. They're better with Daniel Jones. But here's somebody else you forgot to mention, Miami J, Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is probably the best running back in the NFL that nobody knows about. Dude, that guy is awesome. You've got Adam Thielen. You have Stephon Diggs. Kirk Cousins has been taking it. He's been taking it by the media. I can't think of a better way for him to shut everybody the hell up with another "you like that" game. I like the Vikings by 2 touchdowns today. They absolutely cover in New York. I think Adam Thielen, who is on my fantasy squad, by the way, I think Adam Thielen gets a touchdown. I think Dalvin Cook gets a touchdown. I think Stephon Diggs gets a touchdown. I think Minnesota goes into New York, and I think they dump truck the New York Giants. I'm taking this one 28-14. All right, let's go to the next game. The New England Patriots on the road against Xanatos Clutch's team or not team. I don't know.
Hey, look, I'm just from DC. I'm just from DC. Oh, look at me.
Xanatos Clutch is from DC, but he's not claiming the Washington Redskins. The Patriots getting 15, or I'm sorry, the Patriots giving up 15.5 on the road. Just like Miami J says, Vegas knows something we don't remember. The Detroit game, right? Everybody thought that Kansas City was going to go in there and boat race the Detroit Lions. Guess what? They didn't. Kansas City had to squeak that one out. So, Clutch, are you taking the Patriots and swallowing more than 2 touchdowns, or do the Redskins make this a game?
I mean, looking at what they did last week, they tried to pull a Giants with Daniel Jones and got embarrassed. And as a DC native, I should have known that Snyder and Gruden would have pulled off something like this. Oh, let's put a rookie quarterback against a rookie quarterback. We can match up with them, right? No, Redskins. Honestly, I can see the Redskins hanging in there with the Patriots until maybe the third quarter, and then Tom Brady is just going to be Tom Brady. He's going to probably crush the Redskins in the third quarter, and then Bill Belichick's going to be like, all right, just rest up for the fourth quarter. I see the Patriots covering the spread by I'd say 20-something points.
Woo! Wow. All right, Miami J, what you got, man?
Well, I haven't seen spreads like the ones I've seen this season. You had 21 points against Miami. You had, usually a spread will be, if it's a blowout, it'll be 14.5. But this year, we're getting these crazy spreads. I think this is one of them. But I think the Patriots cover. The Redskins, they don't know what the hell to do. They're starting Colt McCoy now.
Is that who's getting the start? Is Colt McCoy?
Yeah, he's getting the start. And yeah, I mean, I don't see a way that the Redskins are gonna be able to match up with the Patriots. It's gonna be ugly.
I don't think the Patriots cover. And the reason why, no, I don't think they do. And it's almost like the Miami Dolphins. And I know that that's a very, very bad example, but you got to understand something. When the media is after you all the time, that motivates you. Okay. Number one. Number two, this is the Washington Redskins Super Bowl, as is every team when the Patriots come to play. The New England Patriots is everybody's Super Bowl. Okay. The Redskins are going to be far more focused playing the Patriots than they ever were playing the Dallas Cowboys, because that's Tom Brady over there. Okay.
We said that about the Dolphins a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I know. Bad example. Tells me, listen, the Patriots are going to win this game by 2 touchdowns, but they're not going to win it. They're not going to cover. I'm going to take the Patriots. I'm going to go 21. I'm going to go 21-7 Patriots. They win the game by 2 touchdowns, but they do not cover that 15.5 points. James Martinez says, is this an NFC East show? So obviously my NFC East bias coming into play. I swear I'm going to try to work on it a little bit more right after we pick with the New York Jets and the Eagles. So the Eagles are getting 15 points. They're getting 15 points with the New York Giants coming in. I'm going to go ahead and make my pick first. Yeah, the Eagles are going to cover. They have to cover. You got Luke Falk coming in. Can anybody name a Jets receiver outside of Quincy Enunwa? And I don't even know that they even have any other receivers. The Eagles have to stop one person on either side of the football. That's Le'Veon Bell. We can put 15 in the box and let Luke Falk beat us. I think the Eagles roll. I'm going 38-3.
Nobody's talking about Robbie Anderson?
Oh my God. All right, what do we got, man? Are you gonna swallow the points and take the Eagles, or do you think the Jets keep this to within 15?
The Eagles are going to win this, but this is definitely a trap game.
Swear to God, I'm a little nervous, man. I'm nervous, dude. Not gonna lie.
You'll win. The Eagles will win. Fly, Eagles, fly. All right. I'm not an Eagles fan, but the Jets are going to cover the points. It's going to be within, I'd say, 10 points, honestly. If that. I can see it going down to the wire, honestly.
Oh, God, I hope not. Oh,
it will.
Oh, my God. Listen, I'll put it to you this way before we get to Miami J. I would rather, and again, every time Wentz breaks the pocket, I have a heart attack. I'm like, oh, my God. And I can't look. I cannot look when Wentz breaks the pocket. I would rather the Eagles lose this game and keep Wentz than because remember, 2 years ago, we went into LA and we beat the vaunted, heavily favored Rams. This was during Carson Wentz's super year. So Wentz goes into the end zone. He tears his ACL, then still throws a touchdown on an ACL, but then he's lost for the season, but we won the game. I would gladly have swapped those. I would have lost to LA and kept Wentz for the Super Bowl run. I don't want to make that prediction here. I just want Wentz to come out of this game in one piece. Miami J, are the Eagles going to cover, or do the Jets make this a game?
Well, an interesting thing here is I have this game at 13.5 points. So this spread has moved quite a bit throughout the week.
Oh, it has. Okay. So I guess
It
my
has.
my spread is a little outdated then.
I think the Eagles are hot. I think they're gonna just absolutely destroy the Jets. Adam Gase, he's got nothing. He you know.
He probably
I don't think there's much to say about this one. The Eagles are hot. They're in the easier part of their schedule. They're at home. They're coming off that Thursday night game, so they had a long week.
long week. Yep. That's right.
Yeah, the Eagles are gonna roll.
And half the team probably has mono now anyway. So
Exactly.
I think the Eagles are probably going to roll to staying in the NFC East. This is unbelievable. Staying in the NFC East, I think this is the game that most people are going to watch. I know I'm watching it. I'm Team Green Bay on this one, just for obviously because the Cowboys, I want them to lose 2 straight games so that we can then, I think that if the Cowboys lose this game to the Packers and the Eagles beat the Jets, we are now, I believe, in first place, because even though we would have the same record, common opponent, Dallas loses to Green Bay, we beat Green Bay, et cetera, et cetera. James Martinez laughing at me because obviously I've stayed in I didn't even realize I was going to be in the NFC East, but I'll try to spread it around for our regional fans. The Green Bay Packers, the Dallas Cowboys, and I think this is a good line. It's the Cowboys minus 3.5 at home against the Packers. The Green Bay Packers are getting 3.5 points. Miami J, who you got, man? This is a tough one to call.
You know, I'm a sports bettor, and I tend to follow a rule: never bet against a pissed off Aaron Rodgers.
Woo!
So I'm taking Green Bay. I think Aaron Rodgers goes in there off the long week again, puts that mustache on display, and just goes off.
Yes. What you got?
I gotta go with Miami. Miami J in this one.
Oh wait, hold on. I thought you said you're gonna have to go with Miami. I was like, dude, Miami is not a good bet.
Not Miami. I'm gonna have,
real quick. Sorry. Here's another prediction: Miami will not lose this week.
The Miami Dolphins have a bye week this week, so the Miami Dolphins will not lose this week. Very good prediction. Go ahead, what you got it, man.
Yeah, I gotta go with Miami J in this one. Aaron Rodgers, he fought his ass off just to lose. I mean, and also, I mean, one of the players got severely injured. I mean, but you got to remember, Devontae Adams, he's out, I think. But
I'm looking that up right now. Listen, you and I are thinking alike. I'm looking this up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Devontae Adams is out against the Cowboys on Sunday.
Yes. So
Marcus Valdez-Scantling, baby.
Yeah.
Listen, Aaron Rodgers. Listen, this is the difference between Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott. If Amari Cooper goes down, Dak is not the same quarterback. Aaron is going to be the same quarterback with or without Devontae Adams. This is why he's making $35 million a season. Who you got, Fletch? Who you taking?
All right. I got the Green Bay Packers covering it, but not by much. They'll win by 3.
Okay. DeMarcus Burton says Dallas would still be considered top of the NFC East because of their 2 divisional wins. Very good point. Excellent point. So if Dallas loses and the Eagles win, the Cowboys would still be in first place because they have more division wins at this point. Thank you for the correction there. I think the Packers are going to win this game. And the reason I think this is because obviously Aaron Rodgers is really, really good in Dallas. You remember when the Cowboys were the number 1 seed back in 13 or 14 and Green Bay went in there and beat them. It's indoors and Aaron Rodgers absolutely thrives indoors. We saw that in the 2010 playoffs when they were a 6th seed, went all the way to the Super Bowl. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to light it up. Number 2, let's talk about that Green Bay defense. No, the Green Bay defense couldn't stop the Eagles because really nobody can. But the Green Bay defense, don't get it twisted. The Green Bay defense is very, very good. They have an excellent defense. I think they're going to. I think what they're going to do, they're going to put 8, 9 in the box. They're going to stop Zeke Elliott. They're going to force Dak Prescott to beat them through the air. I don't think he can do it. I had the Green Bay Packers 21-17 over the Dallas Cowboys. I do not think the Cowboys win, and they absolutely do not cover. Okay, let me put this back on the screen here. Let's talk about a couple of other topics here quickly before the games start. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to go back to, and I wanted to get to the spread, so it wouldn't. Okay, we covered that. Dak Prescott was exposed. So let's talk about one more topic here. No, actually, no. We already have the answer to that. Colt McCoy is going to start. Will the Packers bounce back? That's it. We've covered all the topics. I always have a number of topics that I want to talk about, and I've got all the slides. But I think when we talk about certain things, I was going to talk about, will Aaron Rodgers bounce back? Well, when we talked about the spread, we obviously answered that question. So let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. Miami J, what are your final thoughts on the games, the season, the Miami Dolphins, etc.?
Well, I think it's shaping up to be a great, it's going to be a great season overall. We're only in week 5 right now, and we're already seeing drama out the asshole. So it's going to be great. I can't wait to see how it all shapes out. The NFC wild card is shaping up to be a really, really, really good ending to the season.
Listen, the NFC wild card could make the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Clutch, final thoughts.
Yeah. I'm watching at all these NFC games that are going on this week. I mean, the AFC, it's basically what at this point. Yeah, you got the Chargers that are out there. I mean, you even got the Browns and the Ravens. But yeah, this is Brady and Mahomes' division or conference to lose.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's going to be the Chiefs. It's going to be the Chiefs and the Patriots in the AFC title game. I think the Chiefs are going to make the Super Bowl. Miami J shaking his head. Who you got?
I got Chiefs Browns.
Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. How cool would it be? See, if the Chiefs and Browns make the AFC Championship game, everybody wins because we're either going to have Baker Mayfield or Patrick Mahomes at the Super Bowl.
And if all of you remember that Oklahoma versus Texas Tech game, that when they faced,
oh my God, wow, dude, very, very, very good reference. What was that, like 6,000 yards of offense in that game or something?
Yes.
Ay. One last question here from the boss. This is actually a very, very good question. He asks, will the Patriots win the Super Bowl again? Miami J says no. Clutch is shaking his head no. I don't know, man. Listen, I can't answer that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. I keep waiting for Brady I keep waiting for this guy to fall off the cliff, but listen, a lot of people don't realize this, but the Patriots have made 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, guys. Like 4 of the last 5. That is incredible. I don't know if that's going to continue.
Yeah, they haven't won 2 in a row.
No, they had not. No.
Look at the past 5 years. The past 5 years, they've alternated Alabama, New England. They never win the same year. This is Alabama's year. That's it. There's your answer.
Okay, well, there's your answer right there. Miami J obviously showing the disdain for the.
Don't get me wrong. I hate Alabama. I'm a Gators fan. No Gators.
All right. A little bit of bias coming into play. It is that time, guys. That's going to do it for this edition of TSR NFL Sunday Rundown. My thanks goes out to my super chatters, all my NFL fans. Thank you guys for tuning in. I usually don't get a lot of views, when I do shows like this, but I thoroughly enjoy doing stuff like this. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the games, and we will see you next Sunday at 11 a.m.